Wonder Man was the latest Marvel Disney Plus series. All 8 episodes dropped on its release date, January 27th. I didn't watch all of them in one day. I kind of spaced out my viewings, but eventually I wanted to get around and do a review for it. Marvel and Disney have definitely scaled back on the amount of Marvel Disney Plus shows in the last few years. There was a crazy overload of them per year in that 2021 through 2023 range, where you got like 5 of them per year. But in recent years, I think they found a nice balance with 2 to 3 a year now. There wasn't a whole lot of pomp and circumstance in the lead up to this Wonder Man series. I doubt a lot of casuals even knew who the Wonder Man was. Admittedly, I was one of them. The overall concept and hook of the series seemed interesting enough, and because of the character and series' seemingly lack of connection to the overall movie saga, meant this series could just focus on being, well, hopefully good. In Wonder Man, an aspiring actor hopes to get the role of his dreams, while hiding the fact that he actually has superpowers. Along the way, he befriends Trevor Slattery, who portrayed the Mandarin. I never would have thought they'd find such a use for Slattery after Iron Man 3, but I think they found a nice little niche role for him, first beginning in that All Hail the King short, of course his movie appearance in Shang-Chi, and now Wonder Man, where we get to see the most of his character, where I think he becomes a real fan favorite now here, played brilliantly again by Sir Ben Kingsley. I did like how they addressed it's not like he can just walk around scot-free, given his previous role as the Mandarin, even if he was innocent in that whole Iron Man 3 scheme. Other than Slattery, there aren't any connections to the wider previous MCU story, which isn't a bad thing. There's a nice progression to the initial story of seeing Simon, who ends up becoming Wonder Man, trying to become an actor and seeing what he can do. I should mention I didn't know anything about the Wonder Man character, so there was a nice little discovery for me here in seeing the story play out. His actual superpowers are that he can harness some kind of explosive ion type energy that manifests whenever he gets emotional. It's like that purple vibranium blast thing the Black Panther suit can do. Despite his powers, it's a small scale story, but I think the story had a nice initial hook in seeing the life of an aspiring actor and seeing the ups and downs Simon and Trevor go through to achieve their dreams. But it was episode 4, a side story of sorts, that I thought was just a fascinating watch. It had Josh Gad playing himself, but it was really funny and more importantly set up the stakes for why it was a struggle for Simon to become an actor. But what ultimately ends up happening to Josh Gad's character was definitely a holy shit moment, and amazingly the highlight of the series for me. The final 4-ish episodes were not as strong as the first half. After the great episode 4, you had episode 5, which was a baffling 20 minutes of essentially just filler, and it led to a decent final 3 episodes. But this is where the smaller scale story made things feel, I guess, kind of on the underwhelming side when it came to the show. This is different from your normal superhero type show in more ways than one. It doesn't really have a traditional antagonist. The closest would be the head of Damage Control guy, who we've seen appear in No Way Home and Ms. Marvel. His appearance in this series kind of showcased his more slimy intentions that kind of were hinted in his personality based on what we saw from him before. But a major way this is different from other superhero shows is its lack of a real climax. The climax or height of the show is the development between Simon and Trevor's relationship, but you don't get a really kind of whiz-bang action kind of climax. But when it came to Simon and Trevor's relationship, I was blown away with the choice that Trevor makes during the ending section. I did kind of like the ultimate wrap-up to the story. I was slowly falling in love with this show for the first 4 episodes, to where I was thinking this is the best live-action Disney Plus Marvel show since WandaVision. The underwhelming episode 5 was a turning point for me. Even if the final few episodes were solid, I still liked seeing the story play out. It's not an action-packed kind of show, so it's not going to leave that kind of impact. But that's not always a bad thing, as I like this was a different kind of story. It did have moments of excellence, but I ultimately ended up liking it in the big picture. It was a solid little story to buy time before I get into my true hype mode with Daredevil Born Again Season 2. So that'll do it for this review of Wonder Man. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.
You know what?
I'm gonna use my car, Trevor.
Does that mean you do or do not have super speed?
Let's go!